The three levels of endurance: small endurance, great endurance, and the endurance of the wise. The term endurance is composed of the words heart, meaning the heart, and blade, representing a knife, implying that endurance is like having a knife poised over the heart. When the blade presses against the heart, responding with patience and composure is necessary to overcome this challenge. However, overcoming it requires courage, bravery, and wisdom. Endurance varies in intensity and scope, thus categorized as small endurance, great endurance, and the endurance of the wise, which involves a deep understanding of human nature and the ability to see through worldly illusions. Small endurance. People who practice small endurance often seek peace and stability. As an ancient text says, peace is unmatched by enduring hardship. Common sayings reflect this idea too. Endure a moment, calm seas follow, or step back and the vast sky opens up. These illustrate the concept of small endurance. Endurance here involves acceptance, accepting both good and bad circumstances and the strengths and flaws of others. Accepting good leads to joy, whereas accepting the negative requires more tolerance and letting go of others' shortcomings. A person with a forgiving nature is often humble, and humility leads to yielding to others. This act of yielding is the essence of enduring. In family disputes or neighborhood conflicts, if one party endures, harmony is maintained. Small misunderstandings among friends can escalate, but mutual forbearance prevents relationships from turning hostile. A historical example from the Qing dynasty involves a scholar who resolved a land dispute by advising his family to yield 3 meters of land, emphasizing the enduring value of peace over victory. This story became known as the 6-meter alley, illustrating the power of yielding and endurance. Great endurance. Han Xin, a legendary general from the Han dynasty, demonstrated great endurance. Once challenged in public to either kill a man or crawl between his legs, Han Xin chose the latter, avoiding conflict for the greater goal of his future endeavors. This act, akin to the proverbial suffering of QUAN, who endured hardships for eventual triumph, illustrates great endurance, bearing immediate insults and hardships for a significant future purpose. The Analects of Confucius state, "Small impatience ruins great plans," reflecting that the depth of one's endurance indicates the greatness of their aspirations. Endurance stories like these are trials for those destined for great deeds. For them, endurance is not merely a personality trait but a strategic process toward achieving lofty goals. The endurance of the wise. What is the endurance of the wise? An illustrative story involves HAKUIN, a respected Japanese Zen master. Wrongly accused of fathering a child, he responded simply with, "Is that so?" and cared for the baby until the true father was revealed, demonstrating immense patience and integrity. This story shows that true endurance comes from a good heart and a forgiving spirit. Without these, one might endure begrudgingly, leading to internal strife and unhappiness. But embracing endurance joyfully can lead to a tranquil life amid life's complexities and conflicts. Thus, endurance, at its highest level, is not just about coping but transforming challenges into opportunities for growth and achieving harmony with the times, places, and people involved. This mastery of endurance often appears effortless but requires deep wisdom and a profound understanding of the human condition. 2. The final challenge of the monk. There was a monk who practiced the virtue of patience as part of his spiritual path. After years of diligent practice, he achieved significant spiritual progress, remaining unshakable and peaceful in the face of adversity, envy, and slander. Despite being mistreated by others, he always kept a calm smile on his lips. Many people admired the monk and often visited him to learn and practice this virtue. He was always happy to welcome them and share his experiences. One day, a young man visited the temple. He admired the monk's practice, but being new to the teachings, he didn't know what to ask. Looking around, he noticed a beautifully calligraphic character on a wooden plaque and asked, "What does this character mean, sir?" The monk replied proudly, "That's the character for patience. I practiced writing it hundreds of times to get it just right." The young man nodded in admiration. After wandering around for a bit, he stopped in front of the wooden plaque again, scratching his head. "Sir, what does this character mean?" With a smile, the monk answered, "It represents patience, the virtue I am devoted to." A little while later, the young man looked at the plaque again and asked, "Sir, what did you write here?" "Patience." Before leaving, the young man paused once more in front of the plaque. "Sir, what does this mean?" Unable to hold his temper any longer, the monk burst out, "Patience? Patience? Patience? You fool! It's a family trait of stupidity. It's just one word you keep asking about. Get out now." 3. SIMA Yi, the most successful patient strategist. During the Three Kingdoms period, Sima Yi was known as the King of Patience. He served as a key advisor under 4 rulers of the Cao Wei dynasty. From an early age, he was seen as a potential threat by Cao Cao, the founder of the dynasty. However, the Wei dynasty relied on Sima Yi to unify the country under its rule. In his later years, as Cao Wei's emperor Cao Rui was dying, he entrusted Sima Yi with the task of assisting the new emperor. Finally, when he was over 70 years old, Sima Yi staged a coup and seized most of the power, repeating the historical scenario where the Wei usurped the Han dynasty's rule. Sima Yi was truly a master at biding his time and is considered the most successful figure of the Three Kingdoms era. 4. Cao Cao, a man of great patience. In the novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Cao Cao is often portrayed as an impatient and suspicious man. However, in order to transform the Wei Kingdom into the strongest of the Three Kingdoms era, Cao Cao needed more than just political and military skills. He also possessed a great capacity for patience and a respect for talented individuals. Cao Cao was publicly insulted by Ni Heng, yet he responded with generosity and calm to Ni Heng's disruptions, even ensuring his safe passage to Jingzhou with Liu Biao. When Yuan Shao attacked Cao Cao, Chen Lin wrote 3 proclamations insulting Cao Cao's ancestors, which even made Cao Cao sweat when he read them. Later, when Cao Cao captured Chen Lin, he not only spared his life but also entrusted him with important responsibilities. This demonstrates Cao Cao's noble ability to endure and his skill in gathering a circle of talented civil and military leaders, helping him make Wei the most powerful state during the Three Kingdoms period. 5. Sun Quan, a visionary with great patience. According to the records of the Three Kingdoms, Sun Quan was a leader who could understand the bigger picture and endure hardships. He knew how to utilize talented individuals to implement his strategies, much like the ancient King QUAN of Yue. This made him exceptionally skilled and brave among his peers. Thus, he was able to control Eastern Wu, securing a stable and strong foundation. From a young age, Sun Quan demonstrated great ambition. At 18, he took over leadership in Eastern Wu after the death of his elder brother, Sun Ce. Due to his abilities and attention to building alliances, he quickly gained respect and stabilized the region during chaotic times. Sun Quan also formed an alliance with Liu Bei, and together they triumphed at the Battle of Red Cliffs. Later, he reclaimed Jing province, which had been occupied by Liu Bei, and executed the formidable general Guan Yu. In 220 AD, after the death of Cao Cao, Sun Quan recaptured Jing province. At this time, to preserve his territory and counter Liu Bei, he declared his allegiance to Cao Pi. It was not until 229 AD that Sun Quan officially ascended to the throne, moving the capital and further solidifying his rule. Sun Quan was one of the longest reigning and oldest living monarchs of the Three Kingdoms era. Truly, he was a patient and far-sighted leader.
If you like this video, please comment 1, and if you don't, comment 2. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.
6. Emperor XIAN of Han, the most suffering and patient. Emperor XIAN of Han was the most suffering and patient figure during the Three Kingdoms period. To preserve the declining Han dynasty, he endured hardship for 36 years. He tolerated He Jin, endured Dong Zhuo, and suffered under Cao Cao. He lost his beloved concubine and father-in-law, as well as the empress and his uncle. Ultimately, he was forced to death by Cao Pi. Therefore, Emperor XIAN of Han was indeed the most enduring and heartbroken person. 7. Liu Bei, the most patient and humble man. During the chaotic era of the Three Kingdoms before clear lines were drawn, Liu Bei was perhaps the least powerful. He only claimed descent from the distant royal lineage of the Han dynasty. Alongside Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, and Zhuge Liang, he gradually built a significant following and secured a realm that earned him great respect. The key to Liu Bei's success was his approach, patience, and waiting for the right moment. Before he had the strength to contend for control of the Central Plains, he was seen as a virtuous man who didn't aspire to grand achievements but instead loved and valued talented individuals, cherished loyalty, respected his followers, and won people's hearts. Liu Bei once depended on the hospitality and endured the humiliations of living under the protection of figures like Liu Yan, Liu Biao, Lu Bu, Cao Cao, Yuan Shao, and Liu Biao. Even when he borrowed Jingzhou, knowing well it was a trap and facing ambushes everywhere, he still maintained his generosity and quietly endured. 8. Jia Shu, a person of great tolerance and good fate. Jia Shu was a renowned strategist for Cao Cao and a founding minister of the state of Cao Wei. He was Cao Cao's most trusted strategist. Jia Shu was creative, understood people well, and could see into others' hearts, embodying the principle of know others, know yourself. After surrendering to Cao Cao, Jia Shu recognized his status and the fact that a clever person with many strategies was often used and then cautiously discarded by their ruler. He was also labeled as a traitor, so he was extremely cautious in his dealings with others. Jia Shu initially kept a low profile, seldom devising plots, avoided making many friends, and did not marry into a prominent family, keeping to himself strictly. Jia Shu served as an aide to Cao Cao and supported Cao Pi, ranking third in the trio of key ministers. Due to old age and declining health, he died at 77. Throughout his life, he proved himself to be wise, understanding the times, and a dutiful son. Many strategists from the Three Kingdoms era met unfortunate ends, some dying young, like Guojia, others betraying their lords, like Ma Su, some dying mysteriously, like Zhuge Liang, and others unjustly, like Xu Shu. Jia Shu, however, lived a carefree life until a peaceful old age. Therefore, he is considered to have had a good and peaceful end, referred to in historical texts as having a good fate. The characters from the Three Kingdoms period have left a significant mark on Eastern culture. They also demonstrated to future generations that achieving great things requires great ambition, and tolerance is a kind of strength that shows the magnitude of one's spirit. Thus, a person of great tolerance is incomparable. 9. Zen Master HAKUIN and the Lesson on Endurance. Zen Master HAKUIN was always praised by those who lived around him for his pure lifestyle and moral integrity. Near his home, there was a grocery store owned by a couple who had a beautiful young daughter. Unexpectedly, one day they discovered that she was pregnant. This revelation made her parents extremely angry. The daughter refused to disclose the identity of the child's father. However, after much questioning, she eventually pointed to Zen Master HAKUIN. In great anger, the parents went straight to the Zen Master. After hearing about the situation, all he asked was, "Is that so?" Without any defense, after the baby was born, it was brought to him. At this point, his reputation was destroyed, but he did not care about it. He wholeheartedly took care of the baby, asking for milk from neighbors and gathering all necessities to nurture the child. A year later, the young mother could no longer bear the guilt and confessed to her parents that the real father of the child was a young man who worked at the fish market. Her parents immediately went to Zen Master HAKUIN to apologize, seek his forgiveness, and asked to take the baby back. Zen Master HAKUIN gladly agreed. When handing back the baby, he only said, "Is that so?" Dear reader, the Zen Master in this story showed an almost limitless capacity to endure wrongful suffering. More importantly, he never showed any sign of distress or resentment when wrongly accused. Enduring anger or criticism for something you did not do can only be overcome by practicing patience, allowing one to maintain peace of mind without suffering or bitterness. 10. Han Xin, great patience in his journey to build an empire. Han Xin was a top general under Liu Bang. He played a pivotal role in defeating the Qin dynasty, blocking the state of Zhao, conquering Wei, capturing Zhao, and annexing Yan and Qi states. He is famously known for the ambush on 10 sides against Xiong Yu, which is celebrated in history books. Ultimately, his efforts helped establish the Han dynasty. People believe his great ability stemmed from his immense patience. When Han Xin was young, he practiced martial arts and learned military tactics, often wearing a sword while walking in the streets. One day, while walking through a busy marketplace, he encountered a gang of thugs. One of them yelled, "Hey, you look like a coward. Why are you carrying a sword?" Han Xin chose not to respond and wanted to simply walk away. This angered the thugs even more. "If you're brave enough, draw your sword and stab me. But if you're a coward, crawl between my legs." A crowd gathered, curious to see what would happen. Seeing that Han Xin hesitated to strike, the thug spread his legs and challenged him. Despite being a skilled swordsman, Han Xin did not want to break the law, so he humbly crawled between the thug's legs. The onlookers laughed and mocked him for being cowardly even though he carried a sword. Years later, Han Xin became the Grand General for Liu Bang, helping him win battle after battle. Liu Bang could not have established the Han dynasty without him. When Han Xin later encountered the thug again, he even rewarded him, saying that because of him, he achieved great things, implying that the incident helped him develop his deep patience. When discussing the concept of patience, the ancients also mentioned Tao Wu, although his way of enduring was different from Han Xin's. 11. Tu Vu and the Indomitable Journey, the Great Endurance of the Han Era. Tu Vu, a man from the Han dynasty, was sent as an envoy to the Xiongnu people, bearing the title of Trunglong. The Xiongnu leader, Zhen Vu, repeatedly tried to tempt him to defect, initially with promises of wealth and high rank. Tu Vu firmly declined, upholding his honor and integrity. Later, Gen Vu plotted to break Tu Vu's spirit by subjecting him to a life of hardship. He was sent to the northern sea to herd goats, with Gen Vu declaring that he would only release Tu Vu when a male goat gave birth. Despite these tribulations, Tu Vu's resolve did not waver. When thirsty, he drank melted snow. When hungry, he ate wild roots. His loyalty to the Han dynasty never faltered, as he kept the Tin Tiet flag with him at all times. By day, he herded goats with the flag. By night, he clutched it as he slept, never forgetting his duty as an envoy. After 19 years in captivity, experiencing many hardships and repeated escapes, Tu Vu's integrity remained unshaken, and he finally returned to Chang'an. Just as Han Xin was praised for his great endurance when he suffered humiliation, Tu Vu is also lauded for his steadfastness, raising the question of what true endurance embodies. Commentary. While Han Xin endured personal humiliation without compromising his moral principles, Tu Vu, representing his country, never bowed to disgrace under immense suffering. This highlights a revered ancient virtue. Endurance must be considered in light of whether it upholds righteousness and does not harm others. If it involves principles, one must act with goodness to maintain endurance and reveal truth. This concept is paralleled in the persecution of early Christians by the Roman Empire. Despite severe oppression, they did not simply endure, but used their faith to define right from wrong, informing both the people and the oppressors of the truth, ultimately spreading Christianity widely after enduring great personal suffering. This story also delves into the nuanced understanding of divine intervention and human choices between good and evil, suggesting a higher realm of understanding within the concept of endurance. 12. The limits of endurance. Lessons from Zen master Mac Dot. History records that the Zen master from the Huns was a man of great ambition. One day, the king of Dong Ho, a wealthy neighboring country, sent an emissary to request the celestial horse owned by the deceased father of Mac Dot. Mac Dot gathered his ministers to discuss this. The ministers said, "The celestial horse is a treasure of the Huns. How can we give it away?" Mac Dot, however, felt differently and said, "They are our neighbors, so why should we begrudge them a horse?" Thus, Mac Dot gifted the celestial horse to Dong Ho. The king of Dong Ho, perceiving Mac Dot's action as weakness, soon made another demand. "Please gift me Yen Thi, the wife of Zen master Mac Dot." Yen Thi was Mac Dot's official wife. Once again, he consulted his ministers. They said, "The king of Dong Ho is being incredibly disrespectful by demanding the Zen master's wife. We should wage war against Dong Ho to cleanse this dishonor." Mac Dot advised them, saying, "As they are our neighbors, why should we begrudge them even a woman?" So, Mac Dot gifted his beloved wife to Dong Ho. Seeing this, the king of Dong Ho grew even more arrogant and demanded territory from the Huns. "There is a barren land of over 1,000 miles between Hung No and our country. Please cede it to us." At that time, between the Huns and Dong Ho was a barren land uninhabited by people. Dong Ho referred to it as wasteland, implying he wanted this region. Mac Dot sought his ministers' advice again. Some said, "Giving them the barren land is fine, but keeping it is also not an issue." Hearing this, Mac Dot, angered, sternly rebuked them. "Land is the foundation of a country. How can we just give it away? Whoever proposes to give them this land, I will have his head." With that, Mac Dot mounted his horse and declared, "Anyone slower than me will be beheaded." Thus, they launched a mighty army and defeated Dong Ho, a nation led by an arrogant invader. Due to his father's recent death and ongoing internal strife, Zen Master MacDot had endured and sacrificed much to maintain peace and harmony with neighboring countries. However, when the enemy threatened the nation's boundaries and sovereignty, no patriot could stand idly by and hand over their land to invaders. The limit of endurance lies there. Clearly, for any nation, the limit of endurance means never sacrificing independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. King Lethan Tong of our country, 1460 to 1497, once said, "How could we carelessly dispose of even an inch of mountain or river left by our ancestors? If anyone offers an inch of land left by King Tai to the enemy, they will face severe punishment." We have also heard about the patriotic fervor when the limit of endurance is exceeded in the proclamations of Tran Hung Dao. I often skip meals, toss and turn at midnight, my gut wrenching with pain, tears flooding, regretting that I have not yet had the chance to flay and disembowel the enemy. This indomitable patriotic spirit also echoes in the solemn declarations of President Ho Chi Minh to the world. Our people genuinely desire peace, but our people are also determined to fight to the end to protect our most sacred rights, the territorial integrity of the homeland and the independence of the country, Ho Chi Minh selected works. We desire peace. We have made many concessions, but the more we concede, the further the invaders with their bottomless greed encroach to protect our independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. President Ho called out across the mountains and rivers, "No, we would rather sacrifice everything than lose our nation and become slaves." The character endurance, revered throughout generations in how we conduct ourselves, is the endurance of Zen Master MacDot, of Hung Dao Dai Vuong, of the great and wise leader, a cultural icon of the world, Ho Chi Minh, a principled and limited endurance, not the flashy, gold-plated endurance sold on Hong Ma Street by opportunists to cover their own cowardice and weakness. If you find these stories inspiring and they motivate you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time. 13. The value of patience. Lessons from Confucius to modern life. Someone quoted Confucius saying, "Impatience in small matters disrupts great plans," implying that lack of tolerance in trivial issues can lead to the failure of significant ambitions. In life, we often see minor issues escalate into major conflicts, sometimes leading to disastrous consequences, all because people fail to show patience. There's an old story about Kwak Tun Yi from the Tang Dynasty. As a young student, he was puzzled by a phrase in a Buddhist scripture that described a dark wind driving a boat into the sea of suffering. Not understanding, he asked a monk, who scolded him for questioning such things. Angered, Kwak Tun Yi's face turned purple, but then the monk explained calmly, "Your anger is like the dark wind driving the boat into the sea of suffering." Kwak Tun Yi realized his mistake, thanked the monk, and learned a valuable lesson indirectly. Another tale involves Tzu Jiang asking Confucius about the character for patience. Confucius wrote, "Patience is the highest virtue among all virtues." Tzu Jiang asked, "Why should one be patient?" Confucius explained, "A ruler who is patient avoids disaster in his kingdom. Nobles who are patient achieve great deeds. Officials who are patient rise in rank. Brothers who are patient bring wealth to their home. Husbands and wives who are patient enjoy lifelong love. Friends who are patient maintain their good names. Individuals who are patient avoid misfortune." Tzu Jiang asked, "What if one is not patient?" Confucius replied, "A ruler who isn't patient faces an empty kingdom. Nobles who aren't patient see their endeavors fail. Officials who aren't patient face severe punishments. Brothers who aren't patient divide their homes. Husbands and wives who aren't patient see their love fade. Individuals who aren't patient never escape troubles. After hearing this explanation, Tzu Zhang sighed and remarked on the difficulty of being patient, noting that it's a real challenge essential to human duty. Buddhist scriptures say, "A moment of anger opens 1,000 gates of suffering." The teachings emphasize patience as a fundamental virtue, yet many people remain unaware. After a storm, there will be fallen trees and destroyed homes, just as people who lose their temper often face numerous problems. If one only repents after the fact, it's already too late. In ancient times, a man named Truong Kong Onghe lived harmoniously with 9 generations under one roof. When asked by the king about the secret to their family harmony, Truong Kong Onghe presented a large sign with the word patience. Impressed, the king tested Truong by giving him a pear to see how he would handle it. Truong had it cooked in a large pot and shared it with everyone in the house, including 100 dogs, demonstrating the family's shared respect and harmony. From real-life experiences, the Han people crafted the character for patience by placing the symbol for knife over heart, illustrating how enduring pain without complaint can turn adversity into peace, failure into success, and malice into goodness. The teachings of Mahatma Gandhi also praise patience, comparing it to air, invisible yet powerful enough to neutralize the blows of an aggressor. In summary, patience involves more than just enduring. It requires forgiveness, compassion, joy, and letting go. True patience means understanding the true nature of things and maintaining a firm, enduring spirit. Patience is a demonstration of personal strength. Confucius once said, "Small impatience spoils great plans." Families often display the word patience in their homes as a reminder to maintain harmony and turn one hardship into 9 blessings. 14. The Doll of Peace. Once upon a time, there was an elderly couple who had been together for many years. In her final days, the wife was hospitalized. One day, knowing she was close to parting from him, the husband asked if she had any last words for him. "Please get the shoebox I kept under our bed. Inside, I have stored something I've been hiding from you." The husband, with effort, brought the shoebox to her. He asked, "What's in here that you've always kept with you? Out of respect for each other, I never looked inside." She replied, "Inside, there's a small doll and some money I saved up." He continued, "Why do you have this doll and the money?" She answered, "Before I married, my mother advised me that whenever I got angry at you, I shouldn't say anything, just knit a doll." After her explanation, he opened the box himself and saw one doll. Tears welling up, he said to her, "So, in all our years together, you were only angry with me once." Then he asked, "And this money you said you saved it up. How did you manage to save such a large amount?" She replied, "That's the money from selling the dolls I knitted when I was angry at you." Realizing then that she had been angry with him many times but followed her mother's advice to not disrupt their happiness, he understood. The story teaches us about balance, how the wife's active task of knitting dolls helped maintain her inner peace when upset. Let's live fully with each other so that when it's time to part, we have no regrets about causing sorrow to our loved ones. 15. Rings are sometimes just for show. Many of my friends who love calligraphy have offered to write a character for me to hang up as a simple way to show friendship. When I ask them which character to choose, 9 out of 10 suggest patience. Surprised by my refusal, they say, "Everyone respects it, except you." I don't understand what others think, but personally, I've disliked the philosophy of enduring silently since I was young. It makes no sense to me to just grit your teeth and bear it when you're metaphorically stabbed in the heart. The character for patience is shaped like a heart with a blade above it and two dots resembling drops of blood. This was how our old Chinese teacher explained it to us in college. My parents used to teach, one moment of patience may ward off great disaster. But for the 21st century youth, it might feel more like one moment of patience brings 9 moments of humiliation. However, my job as a cultural journalist has given me the chance to meet many famous people known to everyone. They are all different but share a fascinating commonality, which is that everyone respects it except me. In the living rooms or offices of these influential figures, I always notice a prominently displayed character for patience. Some display it boldly with ink on traditional paper, while others show it off with luxurious gold-painted characters. It has become a trendy accessory, like wearing a piece of jewelry to look fashionable in front of others, even though not everyone genuinely embraces the virtues of patience, tolerance, and forbearance. I know well that if they truly practiced a bit more patience, the fields of writing, research, or the entertainment industry wouldn't be as chaotic and troubled. I've seen people display patience out of resentment towards leadership, some out of spite against a colleague's bad behavior, and others pretend to be zen in the face of public criticism. So, I say, people choose patience as a way to show off because of this. 16. Practicing patience for a better life. After my youthful and rebellious years, I started to seriously think about the importance of patience in human behavior, including my own. I realized that truly understanding and practicing patience is not easy, and knowing when to hold back to fit the situation is also challenging. It's hard to decide whether this will result in good or humiliation. In literature and across all religions from east to west, you might come across the philosophy that one moment of patience may ward off great disaster. For instance, in Buddhism, patience is one of the 6 perfections. In the Christian Bible, Jesus said, "If someone strikes you on one cheek, turn to them the other also." This shows how significant the philosophy of patience and tolerance is in both Eastern and Western civilizations. We all know why being patient and tolerant is crucial. If everyone could hold back a little, the world would be a much more beautiful and peaceful place, transforming it into a paradise where people live to love one another. All the wars, conflicts, and races leading to suffering and poverty are because individuals or even entire nations and alliances fail to or choose not to be patient. There's a saying, hunger breeds discontent, and anger breeds folly. When angry, people often become blind to reason. An unkind act or word in the heat of the moment, like an arrow shot from a bow, cannot be taken back and may cause harm. To achieve true patience, one must conquer oneself. The enemy is within us, our own mind, which can be both a friend and a dangerous internal foe when it becomes unstable. Ancient wisdom tells us, hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. Every day, every hour, we face numerous pressures where our patience is constantly tested. Morning traffic, workplace tensions, and the evening struggle with living costs. All these could easily drive someone to the brink of madness. But by living through these frustrations daily, we learn to adjust and manage our emotions. Instead of exploding in anger, take a deep breath, calm down, and approach the situation with good intentions. A small apology can diffuse a tense situation on the street. In family disputes, a little restraint can make big issues seem small. Just a bit of patience can lead to much goodness. Truly, patience is a virtue that pays off greatly. 17. Patience is not humiliation. Patience should not be mistaken for tolerating everything at any cost. It shouldn't be seen negatively as if it means enduring shame or bowing down to achieve a goal. People can endure all sorts of physical and emotional hardships, but the pain of humiliation is often the hardest to accept. An old saying goes, "Better to die than to live in disgrace." The ancient, somewhat humorous story of a man who died from frustration because he was humiliated in a dream might not be true, but it reflects a common view among many noble individuals. They could compromise to maintain peace, but would never tolerate disgrace. In everyday understanding, enduring humiliation means to put up with it, which is generally considered a good thing in conflicts because it promotes peace instead of ongoing disputes. This view encourages us to live more harmoniously and motivates everyone to maintain unity and peace in the community. However, in reality, tolerating or retreating is not always the best solution, and it can even be negative because it allows bad elements in the community to persist. Enduring humiliation out of fear of power, or because one is in a disadvantageous situation and cannot yet seek revenge, is common. Some endure it in hopes of earning praise or for the sake of gaining a higher position or power. A cowardly form of patience is weak, futile acceptance, making oneself retreat deep into a shell. Many times when injustice is evident but doesn't directly affect us, we might just say, "Let it be," a kind of turning a blind eye that won't harm anyone. But this can lead to societal and moral decay, allowing evil, greed, and bad behavior to take root and potentially grow. Some understand patience as enduring to the point of being weak and pitiful, day after day, month after month. Their prospects and achievements are nowhere to be seen, only a person increasingly miserable in the eyes of others, yet they still comfort themselves that they are perfectly honoring patience. When a community member behaves wrongly, causing harm to others, ignoring the problem is a bad decision, harmful to everyone, including themselves. Instead, appropriate responses are necessary to help that person recognize and correct their bad behavior. This not only prevents harm to the group, but also benefits the individual by helping them become better. The ancient teaching, "Use patience as strength," shows the benefits and transformative power of patience. As the Vietnamese proverb says, "Patience is golden. Those who can endure will live longer." Finding the right kind of patience can greatly improve one's life, and using it correctly can give a person immense strength.
If you like this video, please comment 1. And if you don't, comment 2. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.
18. Patience. The invisible power in life's journey. In life's journey, cultivating patience is essential. Patience isn't just about being persistent. It's about endurance, kindness, and a forgiving spirit. We need patience to overcome difficulties, accept challenges, and aim for great goals. Patience plays a vital role in making life more meaningful. The word patience is not only a part of the soul but also a strong motivator. Treat patience as a strength that helps us rise above and become stronger in any situation. Life becomes easier when we are patient, overcoming obstacles and finding joy in the journey. Don't view patience as a weakness. On the contrary, it represents mental strength, creativity, and self-belief. Keep a light heart and embrace challenges with a generous spirit. Life becomes richer when we practice patience and value true virtues. 19. Patience, the secret to harmony and success. Patience has become a way of life in relationships both among people and between individuals and their goals or ideals. In human relationships, patience is shown through forbearance. When it comes to goals and ideals, patience manifests as perseverance. It is the foundation of ethical development and virtue. The character of patience in life. Patience is a distinct trait in East Asian culture, becoming a principle of behavior from family to broader society. In Vietnam, a country with an agricultural culture, people value emotions highly as a guideline for behavior. Therefore, forbearance greatly determines the harmony within a family. A peaceful family largely depends on this forbearance. The saying, "forbearance is noble," highlights the importance of patience. In family relationships, patience among parents, children, and siblings ensures a tranquil life. In society, being patient also helps maintain long-lasting friendships. This involves understanding, tolerance, and the willingness to set aside personal desires to maintain harmony in relationships. Patience in art. Patience is the key to success in all artistic endeavors. Great figures like Picasso, Banderac, Hugo, Tolstoy, and others spent years working to create their masterpieces. They exemplify patience, dedication, and relentless work ethic. Gauguin, a founder of the Impressionist movement, had to overcome many challenges and give up a comfortable life in pursuit of creativity. Patience and health. Patience not only affects the mind but also benefits health. Studies show that patience helps reduce stress and boosts mental strength. People with high levels of patience tend to have better moods. Patience also helps alleviate pain and reduces the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Indeed, those who are patient internally gain strength and courage, helping them face challenges decisively. 20. Patience and endurance. Keys to overcoming challenges and personal growth. In life's journey, we often face many difficulties, hardships, and challenges. It's crucial to equip ourselves with the necessary knowledge and skills. Among these, patience and endurance are two important qualities we need to develop. Patience means being persistent and enduring in every situation. Staying calm and patient helps us solve problems effectively. These aren't just good qualities but also important values for personal development. Cultivating patience allows us to face and overcome difficulties, creating valuable traits and pride in ourselves. Endurance is the ability to withstand challenges and remain steadfast, even in the toughest situations. Together, these traits offer deep values and meanings to our lives. Not everyone can easily possess these important traits. To develop them, we must go through a lengthy process and be proud of the values we create. Patience and endurance are not just basic qualities. They are critical to success and happiness. These actions not only make us patient and creative, but also help us address all problems maturely and correctly. They are essential not just for everyday challenges, but for the most difficult and crucial situations. In life, we often encounter direct and challenging situations, but we don't always know how to use them effectively. When we recognize the value of patience and endurance, we can create special values and meanings in all our choices and decisions. Patience is the ability to bear and endure, helping us address every situation wisely and maturely. Endurance is accepting and persisting through difficulties and challenges, aiding our development and deep learning. Although different, both traits contribute to building excellent human qualities. Learning and developing patience and endurance is not easy. We need to be persistent and consistent in our self-development, creating unique and significant values. Mastering these qualities makes life more fulfilling and meaningful. These values not only build a persistent and attentive person, but also help us address all problems effectively. We should be proud and value these qualities as they create important values and build enduring and persistent traits in life. Facing not just ordinary challenges and problems, humans also encounter unique and difficult situations. In the hardest times, when we truly understand the value of patience and endurance, we can be proud and appreciate these important values. This not only makes us persistent and attentive, but also brings enduring and deep values. These are not just trivial matters. We solve problems maturely and correctly. avoiding unnecessary stress and impulsive emotions. Patience and endurance are not only important qualities to develop, but also fundamental values that enhance life's meaning and beauty. Actions and knowledge not only make people successful and developed, but also help us build the most enduring and persistent qualities. Let's use patience and endurance effectively, suitable for every situation and action, to achieve correct goals and bring the greatest significance. Patience and endurance are qualities we need to develop, creating pride and great value for humanity. Each person not only masters themselves, but also creates the best and most meaningful values for life. They are not only people who apply knowledge, but also those with the best character and ethics. These qualities not only bring unique values that we create, but also help us build the most successful relationships and achievements in life. Let's act and train ourselves so we can bring the best value and meaning to everyone around us and create the most wonderful and meaningful things for our lives. Patience and endurance not only bring the best meaning and value to people, but also create the best qualities. Let's train and apply these qualities to our daily lives so we can be persistent and attentive to everything and solve all problems maturely. Each of us should be proud and value these special qualities as they bring great value and meaning to the depths of humanity. Let's act and master our lives with patience and endurance so we can build wonderful things and bring the deepest value and meaning to every action and decision. In today's world, where people face many pressures and challenges, patience and endurance are important qualities that help us overcome difficulties and create the best values and meanings for life. Let's train and develop these qualities so we can become persistent and attentive, addressing all issues effectively and maturely. Each of us should be proud and value these special qualities as they help us build great values and meanings to the depths of humanity. Let's act and master our lives with patience and endurance so we can bring the deepest value and meaning to ourselves and society around us. 21. The silence of the Zen master. It was late at night when the old Zen master noticed a chair next to the monastery wall. He immediately realized that a monk had broken the rules by climbing over the wall. Silently, the master walked toward the wall, moved the chair aside, and sat down right there. Soon after, there was a noise outside. A young monk was climbing back over the wall. He stepped on the master's shoulders, thinking it was the chair, and jumped into the courtyard. When his feet touched the ground, he realized he had stepped on his own master. The young monk was terrified and speechless, just standing there waiting for punishment. Contrary to the young monk's fears, the master didn't yell or scold him. Instead, he spoke very gently. "It's late and cold out. Put on some more clothes." The young monk felt deeply ashamed, and from then on, he never dared sneak out again. He devoted himself to his studies and eventually became a renowned monk of his time. 22. How to deal with criticism. There's a saying, "Let it slide off you like water off a duck's back," which means whether people insult or praise you, don't bother comparing. This saying originates from a story told by the philosopher Zhuangzi. There was a man who claimed to be wise, named Shi Cheng-Ki. He often heard people praising Laozi for his supernatural intelligence, so he traveled a long distance to meet him. Upon seeing Laozi's messy house, which looked like a rat's nest, he angrily said, "I've heard people call you a sage of high wisdom, and I traveled hundreds of miles to see you, only to find you're no better than a rat." Laozi didn't react at all. After Shi Cheng-Ki finished insulting him, he left. The next day, feeling guilty, he came back to apologize to Laozi. Calmly, Laozi said, "Sage or no sage, I've long since discarded that title like an old, torn shoe. If I have truly understood the great way, then whether you call me a bull, a horse, or a rat, What does it matter? I am still myself. Living in this world, it's hard to avoid others getting angry or criticizing us, even slandering or insulting us. If you get angry because of this, it's really not worth it. Buddhist teachings say that one should be unmovable, even if winds blow from all directions. Reacting strongly to slander only prolongs the conflict. It's better to stay calm, like water off a duck's back. Zhuangzi once mentioned an interesting analogy called empty boat. If you're rowing a boat and another boat, poorly steered, bumps into yours, you might get angry. But if that boat is empty, just blown by the wind, would you still be angry? A common problem among people is putting themselves too high, taking themselves too seriously, seeing themselves as the center of the universe. Taking oneself too seriously can lead to conflicts. If you adopt the empty boat mindset, life will have less strife, and you'll be less prone to anger. Many issues in life can't be resolved by getting angry. Letting go, not seeing yourself as the center, can help solve conflicts more easily. 23. The Beggar and the Bodhisattva, a lesson in silence and consequence. A beggar once stumbled upon a temple crowded with people, and out of curiosity, he went inside. Inside, he saw a bodhisattva sitting serenely on a lotus pedestal. The beggar asked the bodhisattva if he could switch places with him. The bodhisattva responded, "You only need to sit here and say nothing." Thinking it sounded easy, the beggar agreed and took his place on the lotus pedestal. He then saw a chaotic world before him, with people praying for various things, never resting. However, since he had promised the bodhisattva to remain silent, he didn't speak. One day, a wealthy man came to pray for virtue. As he knelt and bowed repeatedly, his money bag fell out, but he didn't notice. The beggar wanted to alert him but remembered the bodhisattva's instruction and held his tongue. After the rich man left, a poor man came, desperately praying for money to treat a sick family member. After his prayers, he found the money bag next to him and joyfully exclaimed, "The bodhisattva is truly miraculous." With the money, the poor man quickly left. The beggar, witnessing everything, was about to clarify that it wasn't a miracle but the rich man's lost money, yet he remembered the bodhisattva's words and remained silent. Then, a fisherman arrived asking the bodhisattva for safety at sea. As he was about to leave, the rich man returned, looking for his lost money. Believing the fisherman had taken it, a fight broke out between them. Unable to bear it any longer, the beggar intervened, revealing the truth, and the situation was resolved peacefully. Afterward, the bodhisattva asked the beggar if he thought his intervention was correct. The beggar had spoken the truth, believing it to be just, but he didn't realize the consequences. The poor man might have been left without the money to save his family member. The rich man lost the opportunity to earn merit by unintentionally helping someone, and the fisherman could have faced danger at sea. If the beggar had remained silent, the poor man would have had the money to save his family, the rich man would have gained merit, and the fisherman, due to the misunderstanding, would not have gone to sea and would have stayed safe. The beggar realized his lesson and silently left the temple. This story teaches us that staying silent is not as easy as it seems. It often requires great wisdom. We learn that sometimes letting things happen as they will can lead to the best outcomes. Acts intended to be kind can sometimes spoil situations. Life's beauty lies in its unpredictability and the understanding that sometimes observing quietly is also a form of capability and happiness. If you find these stories inspiring and they motivate you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time. 24. The Serene Master, a tale of forgiveness and inner peace. Great Master Dai Hung once had a child, and here's the story. When Great Master Dai Hung was meditating in the mountains of Ku Hoa Sun, there was a wealthy family living at the base of the mountain. They had a daughter named Ngok Trin, who was previously engaged to a nobleman's son. 3 years before their planned wedding, Ngok Trin became pregnant and gave birth to a boy. Her parents, feeling ashamed and angry, pressed her for the truth. Under family pressure, Ngok Trin claimed that the father was Great Master Dai Hung. Ngok Trin's father, furious, led a group to the temple and caused a scene, attacking and cursing at Great Master Dai Hung, and demanded he take responsibility for the child. Great Master Dai Hung calmly accepted the child, simply uttering Amitabha Buddha. From that day, his reputation was tarnished, and wherever he went, people looked down on him. Even the other monks lost respect for him. Yet he never complained and continued to care diligently for the child, who grew healthy and smart. 3 years passed, and one day, Ngok Trin's family returned to the temple. This time, they didn't scold or insult, but instead kneeled and asked for forgiveness, wanting to take the child home. It turned out the child's real father was Ngok Trin's husband, the nobleman's son she was previously engaged to. She had falsely accused Great Master Dai Hung to protect her fiancé's reputation. Remaining calm and serene, the master brought the child to his parents, greeted them with Amitabha Buddha, and returned to his meditation room. Despite being wrongfully accused for 3 years, Great Master Dai Hung chose to remain silent. He never defended himself, nor did he express any resentment. Some might argue that seeking justice is a legitimate right protected by law and a moral duty in society. However, for the enlightened ones, fame and misfortune are as fleeting as clouds. Only by seeing honor and disgrace with detachment can one maintain inner peace. Thus, in joy or loss, honor or disgrace, they remain undisturbed, keeping their minds as tranquil as a still lake. 25. The King and the Monk. Long ago in India, a famous monk lived deep in a quiet forest, far from the noisy world. He was well known across India for his deep meditation practices. One day, a king visited him and said, "Dear monk, I always feel tired, angry, and troubled. My mind is chaotic even though I have everything, wealth, fame, and all the luxuries one could wish for. But I lack inner peace. Please help me get rid of this turmoil." The monk replied, "The answer lies within you, though you've never discovered it. Would you like to try an experiment? After this, your life will no longer be troubled and anxious." The king, distressed by his situation, asked what he needed to do. The monk gently said, "For the next 15 days, you will stay in my monastery and live like an ordinary person. During this time, you will sit alone, maintain silence, and speak as little as possible." The king agreed to the monk's plan. On the first day, he found his mind more restless than usual. Many questions and thoughts arose, making him uncomfortable. He really wanted to talk, but restrained himself and remained silent, just sitting still. As night fell, he began to feel a peace and happiness he hadn't expected. This experience confused him because he couldn't understand why his restless mind was slowly calming down. Over the next days, the king continued to spend time alone, observing nature, flowers, and birds. For the first time, he truly appreciated the beauty of the world around him. By the 12th day, he found himself slipping into deep meditation when his eyes closed naturally. After spending the last 3 days in deep meditation, he approached the monk and said, "Dear monk, I've discovered why my mind was so restless." He explained, "I realize that I often talk too much and expend too much energy on others, often thinking negatively about them. Talking excessively and harboring negative thoughts wastes time and confuses my mind. This behavior prevents me from performing my duties effectively and leads to failures. These continuous failures make me more miserable and irritable, further negatively impacting my life. However, these 15 days have been transformative. Now, I feel like I am truly living my life correctly and realize that previously I was living wrongly. I also realize that we don't need to force meditation. It happens naturally. The monk spoke softly. Not just you. Many people in the world talk too much. Nowadays, many people use words to hurt others, and this excess talking is still causing problems in their lives. He shared the importance of silence with the king and told a story about a disciple who asked Buddha why he often remained silent. Buddha replied, "I remain silent to delve deeper into myself. Silence is the first step towards truly understanding oneself. Without silence, self-discovery is impossible." The monk continued, "Many problems could be avoided if people kept silent. Someone who understands the value of silence can be at peace even in crowded places. Being alone can feel like heaven, while the presence of others sometimes makes us uncomfortable. The most important thing is to start by seeking peace within oneself and embracing silence. Let your thoughts pause. If you wake up feeling confused by the presence of others, close your eyes and reconnect with yourself. You'll feel refreshed because life originates from within, not from others. When no one else can bring you inward, you must do it yourself. Look within because you are the ruler of your inner life. That's where life starts, and that's where happiness is born. When you look within, you touch the depths of life and even feel the movement of death. This inner journey is like observing the ebb and flow of your life as the sun rises and sets. Each time you undertake this inner journey and return, you feel renewed. It's like the cool sensation after a refreshing bath. Similarly, when someone spends time in silence and reflects on their thoughts, they often feel more peaceful and happy afterward. When you truly connect with your inner self, speaking does not confuse your mind. Instead, there is always a sense of inner peace. You can speak while maintaining a connection with your inner self. You can use words without losing your inner peace. When you do this, your words carry a wonderful quality like music, and everything becomes integrated and harmonious. This way of speaking deeply touches others' souls. When you maintain inner silence, you access a powerful inner strength and free yourself from social pressures. You find special joy in life, similar to the joy of those pursuing their passions. Your face will radiate a new light, and your eyes will sparkle with a unique brightness as you delve into the ocean of endless peace. You may realize that talking too much does not bring peace to the soul. Instead, it makes controlling thoughts and maintaining focus difficult. People who talk too much often struggle to concentrate on a task, so they cannot fully devote their attention to their goals and often misunderstanding the true meaning of life, making achieving their aspirations more difficult. Furthermore, you might notice that people who talk too much are sometimes ridiculed by others, while those who speak less gain respect from others because people tend to pay attention to what a quiet person says and trust their promises. A restless soul often struggles to succeed because they lack genuine dedication to their work. True wisdom lies in knowing when, where, and what to say, and those who develop this skill often succeed in various situations. A quiet person often becomes the center of attention and usually succeeds in many areas. When observing the traits of great people, we see that they use few words carefully, consider what they say, and this contributes to their success. Conversely, many people talk too much, often resorting to dishonesty and spreading negativity about others, harming their relationships and reputation. Therefore, people often avoid them. 26. The joy of a father and daughter. On the train, there were a father and daughter. The girl, about 10 years old, wore a small red cotton dress and had big, bright eyes. Her father was dressed in an old, out-of-style suit. As the train started, the girl was extremely excited, looking out the window with joy. She said, "Dad, are we passing through the scallion fields we always eat from? They're growing so well." Her voice was very clear, and many people looked out the window only to see that it wasn't scallions but a wheat field outside. "These aren't scallions, sweetheart. They're wheat. Used to make bread," her father corrected her gently. Then, the girl continued to describe the yellow wildflowers as green and a huge billboard as a small black sign. Her father wasn't upset but kept smiling and corrected her. Hearing the girl's comments, a woman sitting nearby couldn't help but laugh out loud. "I can't believe such a pretty little girl could be so confused." Although the woman spoke quietly, the father heard her. He looked slightly embarrassed at first, but soon smiled warmly and explained, "I'm sorry, my daughter has been blind all her life and just had surgery. This is her first time really seeing the world, so she's a bit overwhelmed. I hope she's not disturbing anyone's rest." After speaking, the father hugged his daughter close and advised her to speak more quietly. The girl, stunned by her father's words, seemed a bit sad and bowed her head down onto the table. Perhaps sensing something was off, the father began to focus all his attention on talking to his daughter. Despite his efforts to cheer her up, she remained uninterested and quiet. We often judge a person by their appearance and make quick assessments on our first encounter. However, judging without knowing someone's full situation is often inaccurate and can be gravely misleading. When we don't know the whole story or understand the real issues, we shouldn't make comments because sometimes they can destroy someone's happiness in an instant. From the age of 2, humans start to speak, but it takes a lifetime to learn when to stay silent. Not saying something hurtful is also a form of self-cultivation and kindness. 27. The Selfless Act of Chao Feng. During the Eastern Jin dynasty, Chao Feng held a position as a government inspector in Zhejiang province. He was known for his fair judgments. Once, a military school student named Duan Hongtian stole wood from the government to make household items. When Truong Tong, the local governor, found out, he was furious and wanted to execute Duan. In an attempt to save himself, Duan falsely accused Chao Feng of instructing him to steal the wood. When Truong Tong asked Chao Feng about this, Chao Feng surprisingly took the blame, saving Duan from execution. As a result, Truong Tong angrily dismissed Chao Feng from his position and gave him money and a horse to leave. Chao Feng left quietly, never defending himself against the false accusation. Over a year later, Truong Tong realized that Chao Feng had confessed to save Duan's life. Astonished by this act of selflessness, Truong Tong invited Chao Feng back and treated him with great respect from then on.
If you like this video, please comment 1. And if you don't, comment 2. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.
28. The Wisdom of Silence. Lessons from Ancient Sages on Living Harmoniously. The ancient sages taught that speaking is a skill, but silence is the behavior of the truly wise. Why are the saints and sages of the past so quiet? It's because they regard worldly matters lightly and stay away from earthly distractions, keeping their minds calm like a still lake. Nguyen Trai chose to retreat, living in harmony with nature, neighbored by silver clouds and surrounded by green mountains. Nguyen Bin Kiem also withdrew from the world, finding solace in quiet places while others sought the hustle and bustle. In the noisy chaos of the world, life buzzes with activity, drawing everyone into an endless whirlpool from which it seems impossible to escape. Only in quiet moments do people realize their spirits are clouded by worldly dust, weighed down by the temptations of the material world. In this chaos, Only the calm spirit of the wise can rise above the madness of humanity. The ancients advised to remember this way of interacting with the world, as it surely leads to wiser living. Words once spoken are like arrows shot from a bow, leaving wounds that might heal over time, but some words can follow a person for life, only ending at their death. Therefore, never speak in anger. This is a familiar advice, yet strangely, when faced with conflict or disappointment, we often lose control over our emotions. Overwhelming anger leads to foolish actions, sometimes resulting in lifelong regrets, like the story of Genghis Khan, who in a moment of anger killed his beloved hawk that had thrice saved his life from poisoned water. We often think we act in anger for the good of others, but this is nothing but reciprocating evil, stirring negative emotions, especially resentment. This is why the media often reports horrific acts of violence that stem from angry words that damage people's dignity. Anger not only harms others, but also destroys one's own well-being. In our interactions, always respect others. Whether they are kings or beggars, every life deserves respect. This respect extends to personal relationships as well. Suffocating control can lead to constant quarrels and unhappiness at home. Parents should respect their children's opinions, and leaders should not impose their will on others, as it can drive good people away. By respecting others, you foster a harmonious home and workplace. Finally, silence is golden. We've heard it said, good wine gets you drunk. Wise words in excess can become dull. An empty drum makes a loud noise. Deep waters run quiet. Silence doesn't mean incompetence or inferiority. Rather, it adds value to your presence. Knowing when to stay silent shows respect and gives you a chance to understand others better. If you're always talking in a group, others may feel overlooked and unable to share their knowledge. Silence also allows you to observe nonverbal cues and be more considerate. Trouble comes from the mouth. Disease enters from it too. Silence can give you peace, allowing time to calm anger or negative feelings without saying harmful words. Being discreet and keeping secrets makes you more trustworthy and avoids unnecessary drama. 29. Buddha's Daily Speech Tips. 1. Speak slowly in urgent situations. Life will bring tough situations that need quick solutions. However, staying calm and thinking before you speak will make others feel stable and trust your information more. 2. Use humor for minor issues. Sometimes a little humor can increase friendliness with those around you, especially when reminding someone. A joke can make it feel less rigid and more acceptable. 3. Speak carefully when unsure. Life is complex, and sometimes you don't fully understand a situation. In those times, think before you speak to avoid unintended effects. 4. Don't speculate about the uncertain. It's impossible to predict events that haven't happened yet. People dislike vague talks, so avoid making random guesses. 5. Don't make promises on unfinished tasks. There's a saying, no diamond drills, no work on pottery, meaning don't promise what you might not be able to do. Trust is hard to build and easy to lose. 6. Avoid hurtful words. Speaking in a way that wounds others, especially loved ones, is best avoided. People appreciate kindness, which helps maintain and enhance relationships. 7. Keep painful matters private. When you're hurt, it might be tempting to share with everyone, but this can overwhelm and alienate others. 8. Be cautious about others' matters. Maintaining a respectful distance is valuable. Avoid discussing things that aren't your business to keep a safe space. 9. Listen to what others say about you. Pay attention to how others discuss your matters. It shows you are understanding and leaves a humble impression. 10. Be clear when talking to your children, especially with teenagers who are often emotionally volatile. Speak gently but firmly, making your child feel respected and understood. 11. Don't speak discouragingly. Encourage others and yourself. Even if no one else does it, motivate yourself instead of expressing despair. 12. Avoid angry words. Anger can make you lose control, leading to harmful words. It's better to stay silent when you're upset. 13. Refrain from blaming others. Complaining frequently can lead to people using your words against you, creating conflicts and self-inflicted suffering. 14. Don't utter hurtful things. Insults may provide momentary satisfaction but damage your character in others' eyes permanently. 15. Avoid boastful speech. Self-praise can turn others off. If you are truly skilled, let others recognize it without your proclamation. 16. Steer clear of lies. Buddhism teaches the importance of honesty as one of the 5 precepts. Lies can have severe consequences and lead to regret. 17. Keep secrets confidential. Everyone has secrets. Revealing them carelessly can have serious repercussions. 18. Respect privacy. Keep your private matters and those of others to yourself. Sharing others' secrets without their consent exposes your character flaws and can lead to loss of future blessings. 30. Silence brings unmatched strength. In the bustling modern world, everyone wants to show themselves, but we forget the old saying, silence is golden. By talking too much, we lose the value of tranquility. Sometimes we offer direct advice based on personal opinions, thinking we're doing good. But be careful, as being too straightforward can backfire. Ancients believed that when someone talks incessantly, their thoughts are half destroyed by their own words. Maintaining silence and calmness is often the best strategy in dealing with people and resolving issues. Being calm and silent doesn't mean saying nothing at all. It means thinking twice before speaking. Speak only when necessary and know when to stop. Silence often holds tremendous power, like gathering all the colors of light. Historically, few have regretted being quiet, but many have regretted speaking too much. In life, genuine people usually speak less, as do the deeply cunning. It's better to be criticized for saying too little than too much. A slip can be corrected, but a spoken word is hard to take back. Small-minded people speak at length but say little of substance, while noble individuals speak briefly but sincerely. Talking comes from nature, silence from wisdom. Wise people think before they speak. The ignorant speak before they think. Those who understand often don't ramble, making it hard for others to read them by their facial expressions or voice. The more talented individuals don't feel the need to prove anything, speaking only after careful thought. It's said, empty vessels make the most noise, highlighting a lack of knowledge or wisdom. Thus, there's a saying, a true sage doesn't show off, and one who shows off isn't a sage. The truly wise use silence as a defense and a means to speak out. When misunderstood, should we remain silent? When not understood, we should be open and friendly to help others understand us, although not fully. But if you feel someone truly cannot or will not understand, it's best to remain silent. With someone who imposes their opinion, speaking out won't help as they choose not to understand. So the best approach is to stay silent. Ordinary people always talk about what they know, but the wise are always listening to others. Thus, the wiser a person is, the more they listen. Silence is the kingdom where mental activity thrives. Through this, masterpieces, nobility, understanding, maturity, and reflection emerge. The poet Goethe said, "Talent is nurtured in solitude, while character is formed in the storms of life." Final thoughts. 3 topics to avoid in conversation. There's a saying that goes, Illness enters through the mouth, disaster comes out of it. Originating from the Peaceful Viewing Almanac compiled during the Song Dynasty, this proverb means that diseases are often caused by careless eating, while disasters are the result of reckless words. This has become a guideline for wise living. Thus, it's often said, fortune comes with signs and disaster has its reasons. Don't indulge in your emotions to the extent of acting improperly, and don't speak without considering the consequences. Even a tiny ant's nest can cause the collapse of a riverbank, and a small stream can topple a high mountain. Therefore, just as diseases result from careless eating, disasters often stem from inappropriate words. In life, we can find examples everywhere of disasters caused by careless speech. If everyone were careful with their words, perhaps there would be far fewer calamities in the world. The way a person speaks can reflect their level of self-cultivation and emotional intelligence. A wise person in conversation avoids discussing 3 specific topics related to themselves. 1. Share fewer personal secrets. Many people have secrets, and sometimes they end up sharing these with others. Revealing secrets can be a way to unload negative emotions. It's hard to avoid negative feelings, and when people are overwhelmed, they often confide in friends or loved ones, inadvertently revealing their own secrets. A secret is something that both intrigues and shocks others, as it represents actions you've taken that no one else knows about. But once shared, if it falls into the hands of those with malicious intent, it can be used to harm you. Secrets are deeply held within a person's heart, and while under pressure, one might feel the urge to share them. However, it's best to keep secrets to oneself unless sharing them brings benefit to others. 2. Talk less about your past. Everyone has a past, which might be a record of failures or a testament to successes. While we can't erase our pasts, nor should we need to, we should view them as lessons for the future or as motivation to keep pushing forward. Some people love to talk about their past, often lamenting, "If I hadn't done that then, things might be different now." For the speaker, this may seem untroublesome, but for the listener, it often holds little value. People engage in conversation to hear beneficial things, not to listen to someone recount their past. Furthermore, the past is gone, so there is no need to repeatedly bring it up. What truly defines a person is their present and their future. Moreover, dwelling on the past in conversation can lead to sympathy from others but may cost you their respect and friendship. 3. Brag less about your successes. Observation shows that genuinely successful people seldom boast about their achievements. They tend to mention them only in passing. In contrast, those who are less successful often talk about past successes. Everyone has had their moments of success, but these are generally not worth mentioning. What a person discusses, the examples they provide, reveal much about their character. When you talk about your successes to others, it often comes across as boasting. It suggests that you are not used to success and that you take great pleasure in it. True success is hard-earned, but it shouldn't be the focus of everyday conversation. People are busy and generally uninterested in hearing about others' past achievements. Effective communication is a skill. Those who master it are listened to by many, while those who don't will find few willing to listen. Therefore, when speaking, it's wise to avoid discussing secrets, past experiences, or boasting about achievements. Instead, focus on sharing the joyful aspects of your life and remember that we live in the present. If you find these stories inspiring and they motivate you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.